right, everybody, welcome back to another Bus Life Story series. We have Jules and Ian with Half Pint Hits the Road today, and we're going to ask them about their bus life, and we're all going to learn, so that way, and the whole reason behind this series is, you know, to inspire others through your story. You know, like, I'm sure you have trials and tribulations, so,
That's
you know.
an understatement.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, I feel like bus life is, you know, it's a dream for a lot of people, and then a lot of people work towards it. A lot of people never achieve it. A lot of people do achieve it. So you guys are doing it. I think sharing your story could really help some of these folks out there maybe take that jump.
Yeah. You know, I was inspired by bus lifers, and only here because of those inspirations and the dream that, you know, when I was a kid and I was on Pinterest and I saw those buses pop up and I was like, oh, that's so cool. I'm never going to be able to do that in my life. But we just jumped into it and are here to inspire now.
So what I'm curious, like, what's like a couple of the buses that you remember that kind of fired you up?
Yeah, Courtney Strudelberg, she had a bus named Tater Tot, and I think somehow her bus came on to Pinterest, and I saw it, and that is the first bus I saw, and I was like, you know, that is a beautiful thing to be doing, to just travel and adventure. And then I met Courtney last year, and it was a dream come true, and I got to see her new buses, and it was really cool. So it's nice to be out here now and meeting people and being a part of the community.
Heck yeah.
I didn't think I wanted to do a bus. I wanted to do a van forever. And then she and I started, just before we started dating, we were on a hike and she was like, I was mentioned for the first time to her, I was like, oh, I want to do a van. I want to live on the road and do a van. That'd be so cool. And she was like, no, we should do a bus as friends and just like be on the road together as friends. And I was immediately like,
A bus as friends?
like, no, that's so weird. What? No, that's so weird.
Just put a sock on the door.
No, that's so weird. I still think that's weird. But then we started dating and decided to do a bus, kind of.
Well, it fell into our laps, really. One of our friends knew that we both had this idea of wanting to live on the road, and it was in the middle of the pandemic, and my friend Lainey texted me a listing in Vermont and was just like, this bus just came up from North Carolina, and we had Virginia, and we had just been on a trip there, and this bus had just traveled from Virginia to Vermont.
Wow.
And my friend Lainey texted me, and we went and saw it, and that is why we did Bus Life.
So that wasn't this bus, though,
No.
right?
That was the first bus.
So let's talk about the first bus. So you got the bus. What was it? What kind of bus was it?
It was the same chassis.
Yeah.
It had a DT365.
VT365.
Thank you.
Yep.
So same chassis, same bus, 6-window, handicap bus. The only difference was it had, better engine in this bus, and it had a roof hatch.
Oh, okay.
So we don't have access to our deck anymore.
From inside.
Okay, so so you guys bought that bus. About how long did it take you to build that?
Well, so we had the bus for 6 months or so before we moved in.
We were both working full time.
Yeah. And it was parked 45 minutes away each way.
Snap.
And Vermont winter.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, summer when we got it.
Okay, so you guys were hustling for it.
Yeah.
So we got we stripped it and gutted everything, insulated, framed, put like a floor in, and then
called it?
And then kind of suddenly we were like, man, it's going to take us forever to finish this bus like this.
Yeah, we got the bed frame in, and
Nice.
your mom fell off a ladder and we had to rush to Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just kind of like, okay, put everything in the bus and let's go. Gotta go.
We moved in.
Our roof rack, the welded roof rack, was literally in the bus with us. And I was wedged underneath it in this little seat that we had created with a seatbelt. Was in the bus with us.
Our solar was strapped. We ratchet strapped our solar panels to the bed because we hadn't installed them yet.
So you guys are sleeping on the solar panels?
No, we
was-
take them off.
Okay.
we had a whole process, man.
Okay.
It was like a 30-minute process to get set up.
Snap.
Like,
So you
yeah.
would have to put your solar out to use it, or
no, it
just to
wasn't
sleep.
even installed yet.
Just
What
to
were we
sleep.
using at that point for power?
We had a inverter, like actually the one I have up front still, but it was like I don't know, it's like a 400 watt inverter that we bought at Walmart, and we just hooked it up to basically the alternator.
Yeah.
And so whenever we were driving, we could charge laptops and
Yeah.
everything.
And that was until we got our solar installed in a Walmart parking lot.
Home Depot.
Home Depot, right. How could I not
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys were on the road, kind of finishing. That's a lot of people spend so much time tweaking on the perfect bus, to get out on the road. It's like, here these guys are. They did like the nasty job, stationary.
Yeah.
Got a bed frame in it and then just hit the road, which is really inspiring.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's let you guys talk about the first bus and where it went from there.
Yeah.
Well, so doing that has challenges, but is really rewarding because you just get into it and start to realize kind of what you need while we're on the road. We could easily just be like, I don't have anywhere to put my clothes other than like a bag. So we have to figure out a way to build clothes storage in that'll work.
Yeah, everything, it was necessity. Like, we need a sink. We can't keep washing what we're reusing. So we would go to Goodwill and we got a sink and a cabinet and we just stuck it in there until we were able to actually get a kitchen built out. It was just pieced together. Our first bus was pieced together.
Over like 6 months or so?
Yeah. Yeah, about 6 months in the build, 6 months driving on the road. And then we were in Montana and the engine was acting up. It had the check engine light was on. We were having low power. We thought the radiator was, having issues because we were overheating. And we found out we had a rod knock.
Oh, wow.
Which is pieces of metal in the engine banging together, which is never a good thing.
Yeah. It was basically the engine's gonna break at some point.
The bus is just gonna power down.
Is that what a mechanic said?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So they were like, it's done.
Yeah.
So
Figure it
we were
out.
having some injector problems, and
Yeah.
we probably we're getting close to needing new injectors on that bus, and we went to this guy that we found in Montana, and he was just like, don't put injectors in this engine, that's like $1,000 worth of injectors, and your bus is gonna break down.
He came out and said you should start looking for a new bus.
or
And I said no.
or a new engine. Like, we could either drop a new engine in or think about finding a new bus.
So we decided to ride it out. We wanted to get to the West Coast. We knew we wanted to do bus life. We didn't have the money at the time to put a new engine in. And we wanted to continue living this life.
And we were a little bit in denial, like, no, this is our home. We're just like, we started the build and lived in it.
It'll be all right.
Yeah, we lived in it in such rough times. We finally had running water, had all the stuff. We were starting to get to where we wanted to be, and we were like, what do you mean? No, it's not going to break down. So we made a maybe silly decision.
Well,
to
we
ride it
had
out.
2 friends we were supposed to be picking up at airports and getting them to different airports so we could pick up the next friend, and we decided we made it work. And Half Pint got us all the way to the coast, down the coast to San Francisco. She got us 20 minutes from the airport to drop my friend off, and then she just powered down, which was devastating.
So when you say that, I'm trying to picture power down. So it just
Everything turned off.
Oh.
Well, it was running, and all of a sudden the engine just cut out.
Oh.
Check engine light came on, and I was smelled like a distinct smell that I remember. It's not quite just like burning oil. I smelled just like a smell that I can't really describe, but definitely shouldn't be smelling from an engine that's running good.
Yeah. So we ended up getting it towed up into San Francisco in the Sunset District, and and sat there for about 2 weeks, almost got impounded. The cops let us stick around while we tried to figure out what we were doing and where we were heading next. And that's when we landed in Los Gatos, or somewhere between San Jose and Santa Cruz, on a property.
So do you get it towed to the...
We did.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a $1,000 tow.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got a broke bus on property. You're not on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Where do we go from there?
Arizona.
Yeah. We tried to find a bus, found one in Arizona, so we rented a car with some friends that we had just met. Drove, it was probably an 8-hour drive? 12-hour drive.
Yeah, it was 12 hours.
To Phoenix. Bought a new bus. Well, new old bus.
Yes, new to us
Question,
bus.
where, did you get it from auction, or where'd you find it?
Canyon State Bus Sales.
Yeah.
I know a few people that bought buses from there.
Yeah, from Ozzy, I think his name was.
Yeah, he was new, but he was lovely. Ozzy at Canyon State Bus Sales.
Yeah.
Oh, also, Yeti Diesel was where we went in Montana, and he was lovely and really cool with us when he was telling us our bus was going to die.
Everything they mention, or we'll put links to everything, so.
Yeah. He's just a great mechanic, so if you're ever
broken down near Bozeman, Montana. Look up Yeti Diesel.
Yeah. Okay, so sweet.
Which we will all experience at some point.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely a part of being on the road.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It ain't a perfect world.
It really isn't.
Okay, we got a new bus.
Yeah.
Got a new bus. Well, so that bus had an engine. We got really excited.
That's this bus, actually.
Hello.
That's this bus.
Yeah. But
Half Pint Junior.
Our first bus had, it was like the first bus we looked at. It had an engine, a VT365, which is like a 6.0 power stroke.
Oh, boy.
Not a great engine.
Yeah.
I mean, if you like fully bulletproof it and stuff, apparently it can be a solidly reliable engine, but it was not super worth buying a new engine to drop in, because that was going to be twice the cost of a new bus. And like our layout we didn't love, because as time had gone on, we'd realized we wanted to do stuff differently.
Yeah.
And it wasn't an engine that we really wanted to have long term. So we wound up on new bus.
Because it wasn't a matter of what are we doing? Are we getting an apartment? Are we buying property? Or it was, okay, how are we staying on the road?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Is it a new engine, or is it a new bus? Because we're not done with this existence yet. And yeah, you can make it work. You don't need a completely finished build to get on the road and live the dream.
Yeah. So I guess my first thought would be, did you just start trying to transfer stuff over?
Yeah.
So we got it, gutted it, and then kind of decided on a new layout, the one for this bus, and then certainly brought over all of the appliances, the roof rack. We
parked the buses next to each other and took, 2x4s and just like laid them across and then slid the roof deck over. Same with the solar panels. Yeah. We just park them side by side, and it was cool because we could live in Half Pint while we were getting Junior gutted and like doing all the prep work. And then the first thing that went in was, I think, the passenger seat. That was the first thing we transferred from Half Pint to Half Pint Junior. Then the bed frame went in, and then we'd move the mattress over. We were still cooking in Half Pint, and then we built the kitchen in Junior, and eventually we moved into Junior full time, and Half Pint became like getting ready to prep to sell. Yeah.
So the first it was broke, and you were able to sell it?
Not for very much.
But you still were able to sell it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Somebody paid for the tow and paid us like, I don't know, $500 or something.
Yeah.
Did they say what they were going to do with it? Were they going to try and rebuild it?
No,
they're going to try and convert it, I think.
Yeah, we weren't able to talk to the woman directly. We had some pretty cool people who were interested in the bus. Who was it? Jessie. She was
Jessie, a UFC fighter.
Yeah.
She had fight on the main card of UFC, and she came and toured the bus and almost bought it.
Yeah. She was like, really, if I win this next fight, I'm going to buy your bus. For like we had put it up for like $5,000 because it's new tires. It was partially already gutted, had the bed frame in. And
it's in really good shape except for the engine.
she won her fight, and then she didn't buy her bus. But we did end up selling Half Pint. It took a while. We ended up going down to Arizona to Skoolie Palooza with this bus and adventuring for a while, and then came back up and got Half Pint sold. And then we were able to really hit the road with this bus.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a wild story. So how long, so timeline-wise, like all that to right here, how long since you sold that and built this to right here? Or what are we looking at?
We bought Junior in July 2021 and built him out. We took about 2 or 3 months, and then we left again.
Yeah, 2 months to get
livable.
This bus livable. So we like framed everything, got everything transferred over. Didn't have a ceiling on. We've put that on since
Recently,
we left
yeah.
then. But like had everything livable but not finished.
And by all means, this bus is also not finished.
Yeah.
We hit the road after 2 or 3 months of building and have been living our adventure, going to Skoolie Palooza, and really haven't continued on. Like, little projects get done here and there when we really need things done. Again, like our closet right now is too small. We're going to flip things. And it's cool because projects aren't completely done, which means it's really easy to switch things up and build it the way we actually need it, instead of completing projects and being miserable with our decisions and having to rip a finished product apart.
You see that a lot, honestly. So I don't know how many people share that, but a lot of people who try and build the perfect bus typically end up selling it and building something else, or they're remodeling. Because
it's hard to know what you need.
Because you don't know what you need until you're really out there.
And you don't know like the flow of a space. Like it's hard to know, I want this to be, 4 feet closer to me while I'm cooking because it's a pain to like walk across, not that it's very far, but like just the functional piece, things flow in a space easier, and kind of suddenly you're like, well, I planned that space out to be like a cabinet for pots and pans, but it's now turned into where we keep the trash and everything.
Yeah. And that's gonna change, and until this build is quote unquote complete.
I don't know if they ever really are.
Yeah, what does that mean?
You know what I mean? Because it's always like, even in some of these that are technically done, I'm like, man, a towel hook would be good right here.
But it's great, those little projects. We just found some command hooks and finally decided to stick up some hooks and actually hang our coats up so they're not just like thrown on the passenger seat.
That is the frustrating. There are a lot of advantages about how we've done both of these builds on the road, kind of on the fly. But also, it really pisses me off when we do something that solves a problem that we've been dealing with for like 2 months, and we're just like, that took 20 minutes, and now I don't have to pick up the coats every time they fall, because we drive and they fall.
Or move the bike in and out from the front seat. We just got a new bike rack put on the back of the bus. So
that was because the other one broke and
that was a story.
Fell off in the desert.
Don't go on graded roads, and washboard roads in the desert if you have a bike rack on the back of your bus. They'll bounce off.
Yeah. Okay, so what? Because I think we're kind of like up to date-ish on like, but what is your favorite moment? Like, was there a moment in bus life where it was like all the bad stuff happening, it was all worth it? Have you guys had that? Like some specific moment?
I've had a bunch of them. I'm not sure that there's like one moment that I can pinpoint as that. Like, there's been a number of moments of just like sitting out watching a sunset, or being somewhere, like waking up in the morning and looking out the window and being like, oh shit, I'm not in my apartment like looking out at the wall of the other apartment building that I lived in for like 2 years. I'm actually like looking out over somewhere beautiful that I can decide where it is. Moments like that definitely make it feel like happy we're doing bus life.
Yeah, for me, it's when we're just driving and I'm curled up on the couch or in bed and it's sunny and the sun's on my face and I have that moment of, holy crap, we did it. Like, I'm living in a bus, flying down the road. And for me, I was in a bad trauma when I was 18 back in 2015, and it was a car accident. So for me, bus life was really about reinventing the road and getting comfortable being on the road again, because I had a lot of PTSD about being in vehicles on the road. So big part of getting a bus was safety as opposed to an RV. And yeah, this journey has brought a lot of closure for me and a lot of like, I don't know, a lot of opportunity.
Cool. That's awesome. What do you think? Is this forever? 5 years? Are you even looking at that?
We've talked about it a bunch.
Until we're done. Until something else comes along. Until we find property and build little tree houses and, Airbnb our bus or
I don't know. Maybe it'll be 5 years. Maybe it'll be 10 years. Maybe it'll be a year, and all of a sudden we're like, all right, I'm tired of this.
So just taking it.
It's just day by day.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah. No real plan.
I like it.
We never really have a plan. Everyone always asks, and we're like, I don't know. Where are we going from here? We have no idea.
Okay. So a lot of people too, I think one of the biggest things that makes them hesitate on doing this is like they're always asking the question is like how do they make money? So if you guys are comfortable sharing that with them, like how are you guys sustaining living on the road?
So I have a full-time programming consulting job that I was working before we moved onto the road. And especially as everything with COVID happened and the whole world went virtual, we'd already been entirely virtual as a company for a long time. So I was able to just, doesn't matter where I am working, I can just still work my 9 to 5 or more than that, but still work my 9 to 5 programming job from the road.
As long as we have power,
and service to get internet.
Yeah. I graduated as a nurse in the middle of the pandemic, right as the pandemic hit,
so
actually.
you must have been making real good money.
I was, yeah. In Vermont, they actually graduated us early in April and said, go practice. Don't take the NCLEX, just go. And I worked as a psych nurse for about 6 months, and right as I started working, we found the bus, our first bus, Half Pint. And that's when I was working full-time. The bus, we were driving 40 minutes to go gut it and build it out. And in that time, I was called to step away from Western medicine and a little further into Eastern medicine, yoga, mindfulness, and dialectical behavioral therapy, which is, I'm currently starting a business. It's going to be pop-up and virtual yoga on the road, and I'm going to be teaching about dialectical behavioral therapy skills, which are basically life skills, coping skills, mindfulness, distress tolerance, emotion regulation.
And what's it called? What's the business called?
It's Dialectical Behavioral Therapy Education and Yoga, so it's DBT, as in tea, sipping tea, yoga. So basically an open space to come and process mental health, to learn coping skills, to practice yoga, to have a conversation. I really want to deconstruct the stigma of mental health. And get the word out about DBT, because I think it doesn't only apply to people with mental health disorders, BPD, bipolar. It can really help and be applicable to everyone. We all struggle with mental health. I find a lot of people on the road are willing to be more vulnerable and talk about it, so this is the community I want to tap into, and come join me if you want to.
Yeah, so links again to the places like that has been a part of their journey, and all their socials or business stuff, it's all going to be in the description below. And I'm stoked for you guys being here and being a part of this series, because
thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot of tours on YouTube, and I do them too, and they've gotten very cookie cutter to me, and I'm guilty too. I've filmed them, but I feel like a missing element is like the story behind it all, and that's the idea behind this series, is I really want to share like the story, how you got here, your journey, like where you're at. I don't know.
The who, what, where, when, and whys.
Yeah, it's so focused on the build.
Yeah.
When there's people that build them. There's ideas behind the layouts.
And everybody's story is different.
Yeah.
Like living on the road, the build is awesome and like functionally how you're able to live in like your home. But what's magical about bus life or living on the road is more about the experience and more about like getting to go do fun stuff and have the freedom to go around and not be tied to like a brick and mortar home.
Yeah.
That's so much more of the magic of living nomadically.
Yeah. We follow disc golf courses. That's how we
I think there's a disc golf course here.
It's Dexter, right?
Dexter or something. We're going to go check it out.
We're going to go check it out
Probably
tomorrow. But yeah, that's how we kind of navigate where we're going next, is some of the top disc golf courses.
It used to be Hot Springs for me. I would travel according to Hot Springs.
Yeah.
And I would just stay however cool the hot spring was.
Yep. Hot Springs are new to me because
Yeah.
I'm from New England in Vermont, and so I know we're going to hit a hot spring later.
Yeah.
But I like a hot bath, and you don't get that when you're living on the road that often. So I'm looking forward to a hot spring.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any advice? I'd like to hear from both of you. Like, if you guys, before all this, before you guys did this, had the experience, let's just say you had that moment where you want to do it. Let's say you stumbled across this video. Is there anything you'd want to say to yourself? Like maybe advice? You know what I'm saying? Something like that?
Maybe just try it. Like, I know for me, I got caught up. I wanted to do a van forever, but it was just kind of a pipe dream. I didn't put much effort into it other than like randomly scrolling and like, oh, that would be cool, and kind of designing a build in my head. But like, I never really did all the foundational work of like budgeting, figuring out how feasible it was, and actually like committing. And it took a push from her to say, why don't we just go do it? That I think if I hadn't gotten that from her, I would still be
thinking about it.
I'd still be like,
Dreaming
oh,
about
that's
it.
so cool. I would love to do that one day. Kind of just a kick in the pants to get started and go and try it.
Yeah, I'd say buy a bus.
That's good advice.
That is good advice. Yeah.
We had the dream, we bought the bus, and then suddenly we had a bus with seats in it that we had to do something with.
We had to figure it out. Yeah.
That was the story. Like, and just accepting, acknowledging, remembering that you have the opportunity, potential to do it. Like, you can do it. I'm a nurse. He's a programmer. We don't know how to build things at all. We learned as we went, and just have the confidence to do it.
Yeah, it's not so scary once you start doing it.
No, it's about building boxes. That's what I learned.
Yeah, pretty much. Is there anything else you want to pop in here? Because I think we can wrap it up.
I don't think so.
The journey. I don't think so. I think that's a good wrap.
All right, everybody. The camera cut out on us. So we checked it, and we're good to go. So thank you guys for being here.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching. And if you're not already subscribed, consider subscribing, because all we do is bus life things here, bus life adventures, building, everything related. So if this is your first time being here, consider subscribing. If you're here every single video for every week, I got so much love for you. But we're going to take this one out, and we'll see you guys in another one. And hopefully these guys will see you on your platform.
Yes.
So,
We'll see you there.
peace out.